The affair with the Watchman. Help me to reach 2,000 subscribers. The scream tore out of me before I even understood it. A raw, shaking sound that bounced off the walls of my bedroom as I stared through the half-open window. Down in the dim corner of the courtyard, in the shadow behind the guard booth, I saw them. My husband's silhouette storming toward the Watchman, his voice rising, sharp with fury. And I knew with electric terror that something was wrong. I could feel it in the way the air thinned around me, in the way my heartbeat stumbled, as if it already sensed the truth I had been trying so desperately to outrun. For a moment I couldn't breathe. I pressed both hands to my mouth, the night air carrying their muffled shouting upward, each word cutting through the silence like a knife. I tried to tell myself it was just another argument. My husband always complained about the Watchman. His attitude, his laziness, his tone, his everything. But tonight, the way he moved was different. Too direct, too purposeful, too knowing. It felt like standing at the edge of a cliff, waiting for the ground to crumble. Hours earlier, I had been in that same corner, my breath warming the Watchman's neck, his hands gripping my waist, my heart betraying every vow I had ever made. And now, as I watched my husband square up to him, dread coiled around my ribs like a tightening rope. My throat burned. I told myself he couldn't possibly know. I had been careful. I counted every step, every opportunity, every flicker of light in the corridors. No one ever saw me slip out at midnight. No one heard the soft click of the service door. No one noticed my shaking hands when I returned to bed smelling faintly of guilt and dust. But the look in my husband's posture down there now chilled me. He knew something. The next morning he didn't speak. Not even a word. He sat at breakfast with his tea turning cold, tapping his fingers on the table, eyes unfocused. I watched him, my chest tightening with every second of silence. The guilt pulsed under my skin like a fever. But guilt wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was the fear. What happened last night? I finally asked, my voice barely steady. He looked at me then. Really looked. Something had shifted in him. That Watchman, he said, pausing as if tasting the bitterness of the word. There's something wrong with him. My stomach lurched. Like what? I don't know. His eyes lingered on mine too long. But I'll find out. That sentence sliced straight into me. My spoon clattered against the bowl, betraying the tremor in my hands. He noticed. His gaze sharpened. You're nervous, he said quietly. I'm not. I lied so fast it sounded like panic. He leaned back, studying me with a patience that terrified me more than his anger ever had. He reminds me of someone, he murmured. Someone I used to know. I swallowed hard. Who? A man who thought he could fool me. The breath I had been holding left me in a shaky exhale. He knew, or he almost knew, and I, caught between terror and denial, could feel my mind splitting, my thoughts scattering like broken glass. Part of me wanted to confess, to end the suffocating suspense. But another part wanted to cling to the fragile lie I had been living, the stolen nights, the dangerous thrill, the fantasy that had been keeping me alive in a marriage that had long turned cold. That evening, when I stepped outside, I found the Watchman standing rigidly near the gate. His face tightened when he saw me. He came here last night, he whispered urgently. He asked questions. Of course he did. What did you say? I asked, my voice sharp with fear. Nothing. But he'll come again. I felt the ground tilt. The Watchman reached for my hand, his touch warm, familiar, devastating. We should stop, he said softly. I hated how much that hurt, more than it should have, more than was rational. This affair wasn't love. It wasn't even infatuation. It was escape, a reckless door I opened because I felt invisible inside my own home. But hearing him suggest ending it made something break inside me anyway. Before I could answer, a voice echoed from behind us. So this is where you disappear to. My husband, standing in the dark, watching us, ice cold, jaw clenched, his stare pinning me in place like a spotlight I had no strength to run from. My breath hitched, time fractured. How long? he asked me, his voice low, dangerous in its calmness. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. Shame and terror stole every word. He laughed once. A hollow sound. I thought I was losing my mind, but it was you, slipping away right under my nose. The watchman stepped forward, trying to defend me. My husband shoved him back with a force that sent him stumbling. "Stay out of this," he growled. Then he turned to me again. "I trusted you." His voice cracked, not with rage, but pain. Raw human pain that carved straight through my chest. "And you walked out every night to be with him?" I nodded. It was the smallest movement, but it destroyed everything. He stared at me for a long moment. Then something inside him extinguished. A quiet, devastating finality. "I'm done," he said, and he walked away. No yelling, no threats, no chaos, just an ending. A quiet, irreversible ending. I stood frozen in the night air, the watchman silent beside me, both of us caught in the aftermath of a truth that had finally come crashing down. And in that moment, I understood the full cost of what I had done.